Wow. Welcome to the People's House of San Francisco. Historic day today for all of us, for the struggles for many, many years. I want to thank all of you for sharing this moment, this historic moment in San Francisco, California. Wow. It's been a long road, many years, but gosh, it feels good to have love triumph over ignorance. To have equality triumph over discrimination. To have that discrimination end right here in San Francisco. It's wonderful, wonderful. It's a great place to be today in this hall where so many marriages have taken place and so many people have loved each other and expressed that here. With the very first one, with Phyllis Lyon. Thank you, Phyllis. Thank you very much. And many more weddings to be celebrated in San Francisco. Many more. Well, I know all of you have had some of these feelings before, just maybe over 9 years ago. And then, of course, again, in 2008, when I had the privilege of sharing that moment with Phyllis and Del. And I want to thank, first of all of the people behind me. They're an incredible part of history with all of you in front of me. Mayor Willie Brown is there, struggling at the state level way back in those years. All of our members of the Board of Supervisors, thank you. Our elected officials, from the treasurer to the assessor, our state assembly is all here, yes. And commissioners and staff, everybody from the official city family. Our city attorney, thank you for your wonderful work, wonderful work. Ladies and gentlemen, in those times, in those moments, when people like Phyllis stood up, when others stood up and said, we're not going to take discrimination anymore, we're going to do something about it. When Stuart and John said, we're going to do something about it. And they looked for help. They looked for leadership. They looked for courage in people. And they found at least one person among many, one person who used the power of his office to make history, but also to express the love of this city, because that's the most important thing. You love the city, you do what's right, no matter what the consequences are. And that is what Gavin Newsom has done. 2008. Yeah. Courage, respect, love for the city, love for the people. Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you, Mayor. How y'all feeling? What a day. A special day. Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank you, Mayor Lee, for your stewardship, your faith and devotion and constancy to the cause, and to thank all the elected officials. Mayor Brown, thank you for appointing me to the Board of Supervisors, and one of the first acts I had the privilege of participating in was right here at City Hall in something called domestic partnerships. It seemed so strange at the time. but nonetheless appropriate, San Francisco, a city that has long been a city that has prided itself on being on the leading and cutting edge, not a city of dreamers, but a city of doers, of innovators and entrepreneurs. It's a special place. And I think every single one of you understand a core principle that defines our values in this city, in this state, and for that matter, at our best, this nation. And that is, we don't just tolerate diversity, we celebrate our diversity each and every day. So that's what we're celebrating. But I'll be brief, but I've been, and I want to connect a quick dot. You know, I've been with all of you watching not just the proceedings at the Supreme Court, but what's happening with Nelson Mandela. And I say this to make a point. In almost every scroll about Nelson Mandela's critical condition, it doesn't say ex-president Nelson Mandela. It says leader Nelson Mandela in critical condition. And it begs a question, and the point Mayor Lee was just making, that just because you have a position of authority, it doesn't mean you necessarily lead. It's folks that exercise not that formal authority, but their moral authority that change the world. And that's the life of Gandhi. Wasn't President Gandhi, wasn't President Martin Luther King. People that have all changed the world. It's people like Phyllis and Dell that stepped up and stepped in a half century ago to these debates. That's why we're here. It's folks like that. They didn't wait for someone to tap them on the shoulder. They didn't wait for permission. They stepped up and they stepped in. It's people like Kate Kendall and my extraordinary former staffer, Joyce Newstat. It's the folks on this stage. It's Dennis Herrera that stepped up and stepped in with Teresa Stewart in a remarkable way. They didn't need to do it, but they did it. It wasn't just interest. It was a true commitment to equality that brought us here. It was Chris and Sandy. It was the extraordinary leadership of many folks in this room, so many of you out there in the audience. So I just want to celebrate your wisdom, your faith, your devotion as well to this cause, and to thank you for, and I'll close, for participating in this remarkable journey that we are still on. This sweeping journey. And like any journey, it's not linear. It's messy. It's complex. There are good days and bad days, but it's a worthy journey that we're on. And it's a journey that inspires. It doesn't coerce. We're not motivated by this cause of equality. We're inspired by it because it's a fundamental principle that defines the best of who we are, our human dignity, our self-worth, our humanity. So thank you all very much for your extraordinary work, and congratulations on this special day. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Kate Kendall with the National Center for Lesbian Rights, and fuck you, Prop 8. I did a quick scan of the audience to see if there were any children, and I'm really sorry if I didn't see you. And let me just say, I will put $1 into the bad word jar. But it will be worth it to have been able to say that. Because we have lived for too many years under that stigmatizing piece of crap that diminished us and that eliminated our right to marry and that made us feel less than. But I'll tell you something, when Prop 8 passed and you all know this, you stepped up and galvanized in a way that made today possible. This is why we're here. We wouldn't be here today without all the difficult conversations you had, the money you gave, the volunteer hours you spent. We also wouldn't be here without incredible leadership, and obviously Lieutenant Governor, former mayor, leader Gavin Newsom is top on that list. But we also wouldn't be here without extraordinary legal representation. And way back, in the Wayback Machine, in 2004, in February 2004, when Mayor Newsom took the bold step of issuing marriage licenses to same-sex couples, he had a partner from day one who has been a partner with our community from day one in getting to this Liberation Day. Please join me in welcoming our City Attorney Dennis Herrera.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know, I can remember when we were standing on this very podium 5 years ago, and I just reminded Mayor Newsom about that, and I said, now you can say whether you like it or not. But you know, hey, listen, he got a lot of heat about that at the time. He did. But look at how things have changed. And I have to tell you, we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Mayor Newsom's bold leadership back in 2004. And he has been a true partner to our office and me personally throughout this struggle. I mean, I was proud to stand by him and defend him, and he was proud to stand by me when we made the decision to sue California to say that their marriage laws were unconstitutional. So I thank you for your leadership. And to Kate Kendall and NCLR, who have been our partners all through the way as well. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And Phyllis and Dell, we wouldn't be here without you. And I have to tell you, Gavin Newsom was talking about leadership. And I can remember back in 2004 when a lot of people were saying what we were doing was too fast, too soon, too much. Well, I am a firm believer that's the only way you get anywhere is to kick the door in. You got to kick the door in. You got to be a leader. You got to do what is right and be moral. And to all those people that talk about we were moving too fast, too soon, well, heck, now we have 12 states in the District of Columbia that have marriage equality, and now California will have it restored once again. And certainly that is about a legal case, but it's about more than a legal case. It's about changing the hearts and minds of people and educating them. And the legal and the political go hand in hand. And that's where all of you come in. Because we would not be here today if it wasn't for the community. Getting out, talking to people, educating, helping us change the hearts and minds of people throughout this country. So we had a great victory at the Supreme Court today, because we will once again have marriage equality here in California, and the discriminatory Proposition 8 is struck from the ledger. Now, I can tell you also that you already hear some proponents talking about how they're going to go and continue to litigate this. We already have the motions drafted. We're ready to go back into court again. and we will fight as long as it takes to not just have marriage equality here in California, but recognizing that it is one more brick in the wall, and we will not rest until we have marriage equality throughout this country. And in closing, I just want to say, you know, the marriage equality movement started in Massachusetts and achieved full liftoff here in San Francisco. But it has been a team effort, and I want to thank the American Foundation for Equal Rights and the plaintiffs. And I don't know, Cleve Jones is here. Where's Cleve? Where is he? Cleve. Representing the American Foundation for Equal Rights, Ted Olson, David Boyes, Chad Griffin. We all work together, and let's continue the battle. Thanks so much for everything that you did, because we wouldn't have achieved a victory today without all of you. So thanks very much. And I'd just like to say, I'd like to ask Terry Stewart to come up for say a couple of words, because our legal team, Terry Stewart and our entire legal team, worked day and night to bring this victory home, so I want to give him a chance to talk a little bit.
Thank you. You never see me at the podium without the opinion in my hand. I just want to add 2 words. One is that we're excited about getting marriage equality back, and even though it's a standing ruling, it's a victory, and it upholds the district court decision. But there was a parallel case, as you know, the DOMA case, and a lot of people sort of fought about which case should go. But the reality is, when we work together, great things happen. And in the DOMA case, the court expressed a very strong equal protection theory that will really provide the roadmap to get marriage equality in other states. So I'm really grateful to the people who worked so hard on the DOMA cases, including Glad and Mary Bonato and Robbie Kaplan, and the people who were the plaintiffs in the cases. And without us both working together, we have this sort of 2-part victory, and so we should celebrate both. So thank you.
We have, we're blessed in San Francisco to have amazing leadership. The mayor, our former mayor, city attorney, people in the city attorney's office like Terry Stewart, brilliant legal brains, and then the leadership in this city on the Board of Supervisors level. We're going to hear from 3 of our members of the Board of Supervisors, because I think we need to thank them for their leadership, for making San Francisco this amazing place to live, ground zero in which so much energy comes, and for them to obviously be able to tell us congratulations on this community-wide and city-wide and statewide and nationwide victory. So please welcome Board President David Chu.
What a great day. I am honored to help represent a Board of Supervisors that included a man who is looking upon us today. At the top of these stairs is a statue, is a bust of a man named Harvey Milk. And Harvey Milk told us we had to have hope, and that hope lives on today. I want to take a moment just to, if everyone could just look around at the beauty of this crowd. Every person in this room came from another part of the world because San Francisco has been a beacon of hope. 17 years ago, I sat on the floor of the U.S. Senate when they passed the hateful Defense of Marriage Act. And today, our Supreme Court has struck that law down. Today, the Supreme Court has said our LGBT brothers and sisters have a right to the pursuit of happiness through marriage equality. And I just want to say one last thing. We've heard this phrase before, but as goes San Francisco, so goes California. As goes California, so goes the country. Thank you for being here.
And I agree with President Xu, but I don't want, since I'm already here, I don't want any more people from Utah coming. So I really want to have us give a warm welcome to Supervisor David Campos, who has led on so many issues and has certainly been there for our community in a number of ways. Supervisor David Campos.
Thank you. You know, it's a very emotional moment for those of us who are members of the LGBT community. Thank you, Gavin Newsom. Thank you, Dennis Herrera. Thank you, Terry Stewart. Thank you, Mayor Lee. There are so many people that have made it possible for us to be here. Of course, Phyllis Lyons. We heard President Xu talk about Harvey Milk, who literally gave his life in this building. I'm glad that Steve Cleve-Jones was recognized. The reality is that this is the very first time that the highest court in the land is actually recognizing the humanity that we as members of this LGBT community have. And that is something that has never happened in the whole history of this country. And I know that for me and my partner, it means that we can finally say that our own government recognizes that we are people, and that as people we have dignity and respect. That's what this means. And I know that Governor Newsom likes to use the word extraordinary. But what I think is extraordinary about this ruling is that the Supreme Court actually is sending the Congress of the United States, including the Senate, a message. Until recently, LGBT couples were being left out of immigration reform. But now that DOMA has been struck down, immigration reform has to include the LGBT community. And the last thing that I would say is that we're not going to end with marriage equality. There has to be equality for all of us, including our transgender brothers and sisters. We are not leaving anyone behind. This is only the beginning. Thank you so much. Let's keep fighting.
His leadership has been really extraordinary, not just in his district, which I think many of you live in, which is going to be the site of a tremendous celebration this evening. So have fun. But really citywide and really statewide, seen as a tremendous leader for our community and beyond on a whole range of issues that we care about. Supervisor Scott Wiener.
Thank you. Thank you. Although the voters are now my boss, I want to just really recognize and thank my former boss, our city attorney, Dennis Herrera. I remember back almost a decade ago, from the very first moment he was there for our community as one of our greatest straight allies of all time, along with our Lieutenant Governor. And Dennis, thank you for your leadership. So I've had the honor of coming into this building every day for almost 3 years now, And for those of you who come into this building a lot, one of the things that you noticed immediately is that there are a lot of marriages that are constantly happening in this rotunda. And for the last few years, you come in here and it's wonderful, everyone's happy, they're getting married, but it's a constant reminder that there are no gay people there getting married as well. And because of today, those marriages that when we walk through this rotunda that we see, those marriages are going to get just a little bit more diverse. So thank you. And on a little bit more personal note, as a gay man who came of age in the 1980s, when things weren't going so great for our community, when people were dying, when it was a time of fear, when we had a president that wouldn't even say the word AIDS or HIV, it wasn't clear what was going to happen with our community. And this community is so damn resilient, and we fought and we built and we moved forward, and we did it again here with marriage equality, and we have more challenges to come, but we're going to beat every single challenge that faces our community. I know we will, because that's how we are. So congratulations, everyone.
There are so many other leaders and elected officials who have been with us on this fight, and I'm not going to acknowledge them all, but many of them are standing behind me. Some of them are in the crowd. If you see them or you're standing next to them, spot them, go up to them, tell them thank you, because really their leadership sets such a tone for where we are now. So very quickly, I want to acknowledge Assemblymember Phil Tang, Treasurer City Treasurer Jose Cisneros, our Assessor Carmen Chu, Supervisor Mike Farrell, Supervisor Malia Cohen, Supervisor London Breed, Supervisor Kathy Tang, Supervisor Jane Kim, our Fire Chief Joanne Hayes, our Police Chief Greg Sir, and just as a personal note, I just want to say, you know you're living in the right city when at a celebration like this, the fire chief and the police chief show up. Our city administrator, who is going to have a very big job ahead in the coming weeks, Naomi Kelly. And Commissioners Andrea Shorter, Tom Nolan, and Michael Pappas. And I want to close by underscoring a little bit the point that Dennis made and that Supervisor Campos made. We are going to celebrate today like you cannot believe. And we are going to have a hell of a time. And it is going to be one amazing effing Pride weekend. And we deserve it. We've worked hard for it. All of you made it possible, so every tough conversation you had with your family, every time you said to your mom, no, I'm sorry, I'm not coming home for Thanksgiving unless you let me bring my boyfriend, or any conversation like that, you're the reason why we got to this day. But let's not forget, many of us came from somewhere where there are no protections, even in the face of these rulings. So there are many of our LGBT brothers and sisters who are watching what we have with a mix of disbelief, awe, celebration, and also they're feeling dispirited, because for them, their day-to-day life in 37 states is not going to change. So our commitment has to be, look what we've done here, and we're going to help you do it wherever you live. We're not leaving anyone behind. Congratulations, have a great day, have a great weekend.
SF Gov TV, San Francisco Government Television.